You ask me why I love her? Well, give me time, and I'll explain. Have you seen a Kansas sunset or an Arizona rain? Have you drifted on a bayou down Louisiana way? Have you watched the cold fog drifting over San Francisco Bay? Have you heard a Bob White calling in the Carolina pines, or heard the bellow of a diesel at the Appalachia mines? Does the call of the Niagara thrill you when you hear her waters roar? You look with awe and wonder at the Massachusetts shore, where men who braved a hard new world first stepped on Plymouth's rock. Do you think of them when you stroll along a New York City dock? Have you seen a snowflake drifting in the Rockies way up high? Have you seen the sun come blazing down from a bright Nevada sky? Do you hail to the Columbia as she rushes into the sea, or bow your head at Gettysburg, our struggle to be free? Have you seen the mighty Tetons? You watched an eagle soar? Have you seen the Mississippi roll along Missouri's shore? Have you felt a chill at Michigan when on a winter's day her waters rage along the shore in thunderous display? Does the word aloha make you warm? Do you stare in disbelief when you see the surf come roaring in at Waimea Reef? From Alaska's cold to the Everglades, from the Rio Grande to Maine, my heart cries out, my pulse runs fast, the might of her domain. You ask me why I love her? I've a million reasons why. My beautiful America, beneath God's wide, wide sky.
You're hot.
I am an American. I am an American. That's the way most of us put it. I'm an American, just matter-of-factly. There are plain words, those four. You could write them on your thumbnail, or you could sweep them clear across this bright autumn sky. But remember too, that they are more than words. They are a way of life. So whenever you speak them firmly. Speak them proudly. Speak them gratefully. I am an American. I am an American. You're listening to CSC Talk Radio. This is Beth Ann. This is part 2 of a show that we have with Dawn Jans, and I hope you had a wonderful day yesterday, and maybe you continued it today with your celebration of Independence Day. But why do we celebrate independence? We hear so much from the politicians about rights and entitlements, human rights. Everybody has a human right to health care. Everybody has a human right to this, to that. But we're going through that Bill of Rights, and we're explaining it. And we didn't get very far yesterday because we discussed so much, and it was just wonderful. But we're going to finish here with the First Amendment, and then we'll get through the 10th. Today, I promise we will do that. Dawn, welcome back to CSC Talk Radio, and thank you for taking 2 days to do this with me.
What a privilege, what an honor, and I do wish that everybody had a wonderful, wonderful, not July 4th, but a wonderful, wonderful Independence Day.
Absolutely.
And reflected upon what that means.
Absolutely. Well, yesterday when we discussed the First Amendment, we were talking mostly about the first part of it, which was the freedom of religion, which was so, so important to our founding fathers. But I'm going to go through it now with bridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. We recently did that here. I think I shared that with you. I had my cease and desist letter I sent to Congress. And, they're a little bit arrogant, so they didn't really reply too much to me. Now, they did to some of my listeners, but not to me. I guess I did the wrong thing putting a business card in, letting them know that I was watching and hearing them, although I do think they listen on occasion because once in a while they say something. But we hear a lot about the press right now and the media and journalism, and I spoke yesterday about the journalists that have been attacked by Antifa recently and beaten pretty bad, and nobody helped him. You know, I think that bothers me more than anything. Nobody in that crowd helped this man. I think that bothers me. But the fact that we don't have freedom of press anymore, unfortunately, I believe is becoming more and more true. Now, he wasn't expressing anything. He was just there covering this event, and they took it upon them to attack him. But we see, particularly the mainstream media these days, saying anything and everything, but we see what they exclude from the news as well. And that goes on the conservative side, too. Sometimes I wonder if they're telling the whole story. But it really does bother me that in this day and time, when we have such technology of communication, we seem to know a little bit less about everything. So I'm going to let you kind of elaborate on this freedom of press and freedom to peaceably assemble and petition the government with our grievances.
Okay. The idea of freedom of the press is really critical to a free nation.
Oh, absolutely.
You look at any totalitarian state, and one of the things they will always do is they will control the press. So when we look at our press today, and I don't know that our press is really any more out of line than it has ever been. When we look at the time of Andrew Jackson, for instance, Andrew Jackson had married his wife. She was a divorcee, or supposedly a divorcee, and there were some people that said no, she really wasn't divorced, and that she was married to two men at the same time. And you can imagine what the press did with that so badly that she actually died prior to him ever being inaugurated. The press was cruel. The press was cruel even during the second administration of George Washington. They started to turn on him, which is fine. That's what the press is supposed to do. The press is supposed to be an honest investigator
if it's truth
of government and report it to us.
If they're speaking the truth.
And the government, that's correct. And that's what you always see the founders talking about, is that the press should be truthful, but they also have to be completely and totally free. The idea of assembling went even further, and the idea of assembling, where we're really being attacked today on our ability to assemble, is that we should be able to assemble with any group with whom we wish to assemble. In other words, if a group of boys want to assemble together and go out and hike, go out and camp, learn different things like tying knots and so forth, they as boys should be able to do that. And they should be able to set up their own rules. If I wish to get together with a group of people to discuss just the book of Genesis in the Bible and exclude all other books, I should have that right to do that. Now, obviously, if you discuss Genesis, you're going to want to go on and look at the rest. But
we're headed into a break. I'm sorry, I let the clock. You had me on the edge of my seat. We're heading into a break. You're listening to CSC Talk Radio. This is Beth Ann. We're visiting with Don Jans. I don't know why I say that backwards. And we will be right back.